So I just want to show you a few photos of mine that I've done in in the perspective of the gallery. So entering my photos in a gallery setting rather than in a publication or online. So this is one um, image of a show that I did in California called Deleted Landscapes. And as you can see, everything, the whole part of the point was that everything felt really void and very white. So even the vinyl that I had printed was a really light gray and you could barely read it. There on the top left, as well as some of the materials that I had. But so most of the show, the idea of this show is that these were photographs, but I deleted all of the landscapes from them, hence the name Deleted Landscapes. Pretty straightforward. So the idea is that no matter what photograph that I take, just looking at the structure, the man-made structures themselves, you were unable to really identify where they were. And it's really striking. Some of them it's really difficult to guess geographically where some of these places are. In fact, one of the photos, the photo here in the middle, is actually of my parents. No, actually, it was a different photograph, similar, but I took a picture of my parents' neighbor's fence, like something that they see every single day. And when my parents saw the photograph with the landscape, which there's like a huge farm behind their house, all of the pretty trees, once it was completely gone and only the fence was there, they actually asked me where it was from. They had no idea, something that they saw every day. So that idea is just kind of, showing how landscape really informs what we look at. So this photo on the left is actually in California. The photo in the middle and the right is in Tennessee. So if you saw the original photo on the left, there's actually like some very California-looking foothills behind some of those really thin. I can't remember what they're called, but the really thin, piney-looking trees that you only see in the West. And then the same for the other photos. There's actually a farm, like I said, behind that fence where the pool is. There's lots of really, really, bright green things. So it's really obvious that it's somewhere possibly on the East Coast or in the South. And even to the photo on the right, it's just the side of a house, and the bush had gotten so large that, it was almost 30 feet tall. So here's the fence picture that I mentioned that my parents didn't recognize. I also did a few in other areas of Tennessee for these. And then here's just kind of an overview of what the space looked like. So it's a very small space. I wanted it to feel like that, mostly because between all of the spaces that I could choose, this was the only one that you had to enter from outdoors into the space. And it was the only space that was completely white. So the idea is that you're, surrounded by plants and landscape, and then you walk in and then it's all gone. And then you miss it. Or you immediately feel this void of, not being able to identify with anything because the landscape is gone. And then, just the idea of repeat. There's no conclusion, just kind of like thinking through that. And this is also inspired by the Christo couple. They did a lot of things where they would cover landscapes with the valley curtain, or they even covered entire islands with pink fabric. And so the idea is that you appreciate the landscape more once you don't have it. And you even notice it more once you don't have it. So kind of going off of that idea, I wanted to kind of have an original twist to my photography and design. Here's another show that I did using my cousin's photographs. So my cousin, as some of you know, he is an astronaut and he has lived in space at the International Space Station for, I think the longest he's been up there is 6 months. So he had plenty of time to take his camera and take some really amazing photographs. And I wanted to do something really special with him. And he just emailed them to me. It's kind of funny. Email me some like some original photographs from space. But so what I did here was I actually found some theater curtain fabric, which is the black fabric, wrapped it around some homemade frames, made of just some wood from Home Depot kind of thing. And then I cut a hole out and I inserted some LED lights. And so the photographs are actually printed on transparency paper. It's actually really easy to do. So if you go, like the old school transparency paper that you put on the overhead projector, you can actually feed that through just an inkjet printer. On a lot of them are made to be printed on. And so I printed these really beautiful photographs on this 8.5 by 11 paper, and once you put a light behind it, it's pretty cool. And it kind of gives, more of, instead of seeing the image with ink, you see it more with light, which is, more appropriate for when you're in space and everything's dark and then the earth is bright or the sun is bright. So instead of seeing, like an all black picture with some white dots for stars, you see it in light form. And then I kind of did something similar with some projectors where I had the projectors shine onto this is the same wrapped theater curtain, and I chose that theater curtain because it is actually designed to delete light. So even with a projector, you're going to see, even if the image is black, you're going to, especially the cheaper ones, you're going to see a line, where your frame ends. But this fabric actually deleted that light, and so it felt more illuminated with the stars and less illuminated when you need those blacks to disappear. Here's another like close-up of one. And then I also painted this gallery wall, which they were not really happy about. I painted it black. I didn't ask them permission. But I did fix it back, and it's perfect now. But here's the side view. They look like. So it's kind of like you're almost looking in like a secret hole to